Now it's recording. I did push recording earlier though. Yeah, but now there it is. Okay. All right. So now the first thing we want to do to get started is ask you some questions. The first one is, what do you want? And that sounds really simple. You're going to type this into the chat. You might say, well, I want to be rich. I want to have a lot of money. I want to be able to buy a fancy car. I want to live in a really big house in Hawaii. What do you want? You know, it's an open-ended question. So think about it for a moment and type it into the chat and let's see what we get. Be really honest with yourself of just whatever first comes to mind. Don't try to tell me what I want to hear, but rather, did you make a vision board? And on your vision board, you've got diamonds and gold and all these mansions and cars. Is that what we want? Or is it something else? So let's refine this question, and we're going to have you create some statements about what it is that you actually want. So type it in there. So while you're typing that, my bravery came from when I was very poor. I was a single mom, 2 little kids. I'd split up with my husband. I was very broke. A man from the IRS used to knock on my door at my house and say, hey, got any money for us? And I said, nope, no money. And at that point, to say what I want was I just wanted to be out of fear and danger and torture. I didn't have a positive thing yet that I wanted. So as you know, when I went into that 1 year in the future and I experienced myself being successful, money was not the main thing in that experience. It was all these smiling faces that were so grateful for the work that I had done with them. And they were all just so happy. I had written a book, I don't know what about, but they all loved this book and it had been selling really well. And I found out that from my inner psyche that what I wanted in that future was all these happy people that had overcome difficult things in their life and that they really loved the work that I did. And I was so grateful for them and on and on. And then in that future, I realized that I had made $1 million in that year. So now I'm operating off of something that is emotional, something that means something to me and something that has some power for me, right? Instead of it being, okay, I'm going to make money, I'm going to make $1 million. It wasn't about that. That was kind of a side thing. I think that I wanted to have a car that didn't break down all the time. I wanted to be able to spend money on basic things without my bills always being overdue and my utilities getting turned off. But see, those are all fear things, and those are things I was trying to get away from. So when I'm asking you, what do you want? We got to look at what you actually want. So this one is JP. I want to be an anonymous billionaire philanthropist and support amazing projects and people in the world. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is really cool. I like that. What would be a project that would be one that interests you, that makes you get really excited, JP? Lois says, I'd like abundance to come more naturally. I would like income to allow me freedom to travel, to take more programs, to be able to offer more free programs for those in need. Oh, who needs support? To write another book. So far, I've written Hypnotic Detox, Recipes for Well-Being. I'd like to write another one this year. Okay, so what you're asking of what you want are things that do have meaning for you, that are emotional things, rewarding, feeling accomplishment. And so all of these things are good and positive. Now, the next question is, why do you want it? So now, and for those of you who are watching the replay as well, be sure you do the writing. There's a reason. We're going to get kind of drilling down into what we really do want. So why do you want it? What do you think is driving you to want that? And notice if your first inclination is to get away from fear or away from something else, or to go towards something that you do want. So why do you want it? Why do you want it? And I have to say, I was really driven by fear back then. However, having that vision gave me something different to reach toward. I loved it so much that I started doing things that took a lot of bravery and a lot of courage, and it worked out. I was kind of unstoppable, not because I was feeling like I had to do those things. I did it because it was just happening naturally, that I had such a desire to get out there and go to the doctor's offices and do a speech for a dentist group about how they can use hypnosis for dentists, and went to a health club they had two high-end health clubs that were really big. And I said, can I do some hypnosis for your people? And they said, oh, that sounds interesting. And they said, they decided that I could do that and they would give me the aerobics room to do my hypnosis group sessions, no charge. And they would put up flyers all over the health club, both of them, all over the place. I didn't even have to print them out. And then they put it in the newsletter that went out to their 24,000 members. I thought, there are so many things in life that maybe you don't ask for, or you don't think, I'm just going to see if I can plant a seed and see if something happens. That was one really good example of me feeling brave enough, even though I was not that good of a hypnotherapist yet, but I was brave enough to walk in and ask. And I would go to doctors' offices and say, hey, your clients, they need help with blah, blah, blah. And I just kept doing that. And then, of course, you saw the story about an email that says, I want to hypnotize women for sex. Money is no object. Well, everyone I've asked, what would you do about that email, says, delete it. Of course, that's terrible. We're not going to teach some random man how to hypnotize women for sex. But he was an awesome man. He said money is no object. He was a member of the ruling family of Qatar. He said money is no object. He wasn't kidding. It was an amazing experience. And that one was, again, a lot of bravery of communicating with him back and forth and finding out what he really wanted and being able to have, a client of a lifetime. So we're going to get you to be really brave and be unstoppable and feel that drive and doing stuff because you want to. Okay, so the answer for why do you want this? And this is from Lois. I want these things to give me even more enjoyment. Oopsie. To give me even more enjoyment in life and to leave a legacy by writing and recording programs for others. And your work will live on. You're right, leaving that legacy. Wow. JP says, projects that regenerate our degraded environment, heal our inner traumas, restore our well-being, and catapult us into our ultimate potential for creativity. Why? Because a world where people's needs are so beautifully met and the planet is so healthy is the world I want to live in. You are a very good writer as well. I want to live in that world too. That's really nice. So yeah, you guys have some good answers so far for that. What kind of feelings do you have about money not buying happiness? It can't buy happiness. What do you think about that? Is that something you're carrying with you from childhood and that you've heard it from your parents or your teachers or just about anybody? I think money can buy a lot of happiness because it can buy you good health care so that when you're sick, you have a much easier way of giving attention to your body. It can give you food that is nutritious and healthy, and that makes you very happy. You can feed your kids better food. They're just a well up of emotion as I just thought about this. I would take my kids through the drive-through and they had burgers that were 99 cents and my two boys could have a 99-cent burger and a cup of water. Oh my God. Woo. Luckily that time in my life didn't go on for too long, well, quite a few months, but anyway, thinking about that, like, ooh, can money buy happiness? It could buy me food that I could give to my children and feed them really good food and feel more proud of myself as a mother. So when we look at money buying happiness, yeah, it can, because it buys us choices and we have better choices. Now, what I did in that first year that resulted in my business doing $1,012,000 that year in sales was a matter of bravery and creativity. I made a one-page newsletter each week and dropped them off at coffee shops and juice places. Pretty easy. I went to the community center and I paid, I think it was about $30 a night for this really beautiful room that had all the chairs, everything was set up. And I did these groups for free. And the first time I had about 6 or 7 people. And we didn't have the internet to market things then. I was mailing stuff to people. I'd put things in the mail, said, come to my thing on Tuesdays. And I got up to 30 people, 40 people, 50 people. It was the same day every week, same time. And so if they told a friend, they knew it was going to be not on the first and third Tuesday, the second and fourth Wednesday. It was every Tuesday at that exact same time. And I built that up and I was terrified to speak to a group of people. I was so scared. And every time I just, why am I doing this? I can't do this. And I would get out of my car and go, just get back in the car. So finally, with the repetition of every week, I finally got used to it and I was having fun. And I would hypnotize the whole group of people at the same time. I'd say, get on the floor, just throw the chairs to the side. And everybody's lying on the floor and they're doing this hypnosis with me. And I got a ton of clients from doing that. It was so great. And the gift for me was that feeling of satisfaction that I did something that I thought I couldn't do and something that I was scared to do. And I got over it. And for all of you, whatever it is that you're scared to do, maybe you got to jump in there and do it and find out if you really need to be afraid of it. And Lois says, yeah, what I learned growing up, almost each time my family gained financially when I was a child, something very bad happened to my family. Also, my dad grew up during the Great Depression and he worked very hard to assure we never expected or wanted material things. Oh my gosh, I grew up feeling money was something to be afraid of. Isn't that interesting? Wow, very nice. I'm glad that you're really aware of this because these deep beliefs, they are really embedded in there. And when I say that, the one that pops up in my mind is every night in the motorhome when my dad was doing the fairs, he would be counting money and it was all cash back then. And on the table, there was just stacks and stacks of cash. And it was like, oh, money, huh? Yeah. And my brother and I used to steal it out of the cash box and go play at on the Midway and stuff. There was just money everywhere. It was just, there was more every day and there was no shortage of it, but it was not a positive belief. It was a very negative belief to have because I feel like it made me not really honor the money that I made and spending it on things that I probably shouldn't spend it on. And I don't know, just a different value to me with money since I saw so much of it. And then at home in Florida, my dad built a really nice house. But anyway, so the money that came back from the fairs, every like 4 months of fairs or so in the summer, my mom had to hide the cash. So she put it in couch cushions, you unzip them and she'd stuff all the cash in there. She'd put them in the hem of these drapes. There was money in the hem of the drapes hanging in her house. I think some of it got buried. I don't know. And one time she had to get the cash. We went to Canada to do a lot of fairs because in Canada, the economy was really good back then. And she had to get cash from Canada back to Florida. So my younger brother, who was probably about 8 or 9 at the time, she had a jacket that she opened up and put cash inside of this jacket that he would then wear. And she stitched it back up and made him wear this coat that is just full of thousands and thousands of dollars. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so Lois, yes, your childhood issues, this is really so important. It is for everybody. And we're going to do the self-sabotage session today, which is about some of the positive reasons for having bad behaviors, bad habits, bad intentions. And we do believe that every bad behavior has a positive intention. And the one that I mentioned in my newsletter was, for me, one that brought big old tears to my eyes. I had no idea that I had a program running within me that was something so negative and just felt so ashamed of. So your parts therapy is not going to look like mine, but I'm going to describe it for you so you have an idea. And some of you have already done parts therapy, but maybe you're going to get a different answer this time, or you're going to get to dig a little deeper. See, for me to have not having been making money at that time in my life, 25 years ago, previous to that, I had a successful business, but then things changed, divorce and all that. And my tanning salon that I owned was closing down because the lease was up, and everything was filled with fear. When I took my hypnotherapy school, I then did a parts therapy on myself. And I asked that part what it wanted. And you're asking for the positive reason. So I just asked that part, what do you really want? And it was the part that wanted me to fail, because I had to just kind of decide that, which you're going to decide that there's a part that has an issue with money or an issue with wealth, or it's holding you back for some reason. So I asked that part what it wanted, and it says, I need you to be pitiful. And that was stunning. That did not come from my brain. There's no way that I would identify with needing to be pitiful. So I said, thank you to the part, closed my eyes, took another breath, and said even deeper, what do you want? And it said, I need you to be more pitiful. And that, it's like, it makes no sense. So then I asked the part, why do you need me to be more pitiful? And the part said, because then somebody will rescue you. So these are the things that are hidden from us. My inner mind felt like there was no way out of the poverty situation I was in, with the IRS knocking at my front door asking for money every week. And just, it seemed that there was no possible way. So part of my very wise mind thought, ooh, you need someone to rescue you, which is that's not my jam, And in order to get rescued, you got to be even worse off. Wow. And then I told people I can't put one foot in front of the other anymore. I can't take another step. I'm just stuck. And I said that so much that I actually, in the middle of a parking lot, walking to my car, my feet stopped and I was standing there and I was going, I got to keep walking. What's going on? And it was manifesting that statement in my body because I told myself that so much. All right. So the parts therapy for you, we want to look at what your thing is. So let me know, do you feel stuck? Do you not have any ideas? Do you have some fears that are swirling around in there? What is the thing that brought you here to do this work that you want to get past or resolve or release it? So what is the thing for you? Let's see. JP says, I've done so many money block releases over the years, and still, while things are somewhat better, my prosperity remains a tiny fraction of what it should have been by now. It mystifies my family and me. Wow. Some of the key blocks have been my parents fought viciously over money. A $30,000 salary was considered a lot at the time. I dishonor my dad by making more than him, and I was a bad, selfish person for using money to buy anything for myself. Wow. Whew. Yeah, that what you say about your dad, that was one of the parts of my experience that I had, discovering what the issue was with money that I had owned, that was about how my dad would feel if I made money. Because remember, when I was talking about working at the fairs, that my dad did the glass blowing at the fairs, my sister and I would sell the stuff because that's what the girls can do. And the boys were dressed up in these fancy vests and all these 3 different glass blowing stations, and they're blowing glass. So they're the productive ones, but that's how men and women went through their life. The women were not the ones that were supposed to be successful and make money. And it was made very clear by my father many times. So that was a little issue there. So now we're going to do the parts therapy session, and then we'll talk about that a little bit more. Before we do that, I know that you guys are really smart people, but what is your self-talk saying these days? Even me, with all the positive things that I talk about and help people with, I still catch myself having some negative self-talk now and then. Now, my self-talk isn't about money anymore, but it was back in that time. It's things like, why can't I just make money? What is wrong with me? I can't live like this anymore. I have to figure out how to quit being so broke. Well, those are all statements that are reinforcing being broke and fear and the pain of it. My self-talk didn't include anything like, there is an abundant life waiting for me. You know, just now, the difference in the physiology when I said those negative phrases and then I said, there's an abundant life waiting for me, all of a sudden the physiology, the feelings, the tingle, everything changes. It's just, and so if you're having any negative self-talk, you have got to notice it, first of all, and then don't beat yourself up and say, why do I always say those bad things to myself? Don't do that. Instead, just go, that's not how I think. That's not what I believe. And then change it. And just gently, and say, it's not all about the money, but I am going to allow wealth into my life and let it be easy. Or if you make a mistake on something, you go, God, I'm so stupid. Why did I do that? You just stop and go, I'm really smart. Everybody makes mistakes. It's no big deal, and you've got to connect different memories, emotions, beliefs in your mind that help you when you have that negative self-talk, even if it's not putting words into it audibly, but it's happening in the background. When you do that, your brain is connecting to matching memories and emotions and beliefs. It's going zapping all over the place, trying to find the things that match. I'm so stupid. Why do I always screw things up? And it will reactivate all the emotions and feelings of all those things that you've been screwing up. So catch it, stop it, don't beat yourself up, take a breath and say something that is the thing you want to say. And we'll build some of those statements today. So let's do our parts work. Lois says, yes, stuck. I'll start doing better, feeling great, connecting with more clients, and then it seems to crash or freeze. I get a point, and then I stop. Instead of getting excited about working with more people, I go to a fear of loss. I thank you for being so honest. That's a big one. Yeah. And JP, I'm really interested to see what we're going to find in the parts therapy. And of course, when you do this, if you don't want to share it with the rest of us, you don't have to, but it is helpful for all of us to understand it. So it's, it's your choice about what kind of privacy. So get yourself comfortable. If you want, you can just sit up in your chair. This isn't one where you have to be like zonkers or bonkers or whatever that is. JP says, probably the biggest thing for me is that our economic system is so unsustainable. It's a giant casino monopoly game, literally winner take all and everyone else bankrupt. That is going to fall over. I have a huge inner you about participating in it, at least until it resets. Yeah, well, that's a big thing. So, okay, close your eyes and take a deep breath. And we've been talking about this part of you. Relax your body, relax your mind. So every breath that you breathe, you're simply going to breathe and relax. Let your shoulders drop, let your eyelids get nice and heavy. And just let all the things I talked about kind of melt away and flow away. Maybe you feel a nice, warm, soft light flowing into your body, all the way into your body, and all the way down to the bottoms of your feet, to know that your inner mind is opening up and becoming very receptive to the things that you will be asking and looking at. Your inner mind wants to help you, and you have such great wisdom in that place, in your subconscious mind and that inner mind. Take another deep breath, and as you do, begin to notice the feelings you have about money. Don't use your conscious mind to try to think about what it is. Just let it feel like an emotion or a physical pressure or something that you're going to notice in your body. Your feelings about money, your thoughts about wealth, your struggle and being stuck. Think about what it's like to know that someone else made a lot of money. Maybe they do things with it that you don't like. And now you're going to start being aware of somewhere in your body where there is a part of you that has some conflicts about money or wealth or success. You don't have to know what they are. You just are aware of a sensation that that part lives maybe in your head, in your belly, in your solar plexus, maybe your shoulders. Maybe it's right in the center of your chest. Wherever it is, just notice. This part has issues with money, conflicts. It learned something long ago that went very deep into that place where you hold beliefs. And when it did that, it tried to protect you, tried to help you. But right now, that part is doing it in a way that is keeping you stuck, making you angry, making you feel helpless, perhaps. So notice how big or small that part is. Notice where it is in your body. Does it have a color? And notice what the issue that you have that part is struggling with. And the question that you will ask your part, maybe it's, why do you want me to fail? Or why do you keep me stuck? Or whatever your personal thing is about money or success or failure. So just notice that feeling and give it some words. And then you're going to ask that part, perhaps as simple as, what do you want? So go ahead and ask the question to that part. Let's start with, what do you want? Ask that part, what do you want? And maybe that part will answer you with a word or a sentence or a feeling or an emotion. What do you want? And just keep taking a deep breath and letting that part be honest with you. Yeah. And when the part answers, say thank you. And don't judge it. Don't analyze it. Now ask that part again, even deeper. What do you want? Even deeper, what do you want? What do you really want? And when that part answers, just notice that. Notice if there's emotion with it or any sensations, and say thank you. And now ask that part, why do you want that? Why do you want that? And let that part answer be very honest. Why do you want that? And then say thank you to that part. And now that you know what that part wants and why it wants that, you can understand something about what that part was doing to try to help you in the only way it knew how. So right now, just take a big, deep breath. Open your eyes and bring your awareness back here. So in this first part of the parts thing, there are three things that we're looking for: is what do you want, why do you want it, and what do you need? What was the third one? What did I say? So write down. No, don't write down, because that you'd be writing on your computer screen and that'd be bad. So type in what it said. What do you want? Why do you want it? And what did I say on the third one? What do you need? What else do you need? Okay. JP says the first one was to be safe. Interesting. Yeah, and that kind of makes sense. Did you have two more segments there, JP? So there's parts that try to protect you. They try to protect you from pain, and they do it in a negative way. So again, we say that every behavior has a positive intention. What we're drilling down to find is what is that positive intention that's behind being stuck or unsuccessful. Like JP says, everyone in his family can't figure out why he can't succeed. But clearly, JP, you have issues. We all do. Welcome to the club. So, to be safe. Second one coming up, to go to my real home and to be me fully. So your part is trying to protect you. What is it trying to protect you from, JP? Is it protecting you from failing? Protecting you from having the responsibility of having a lot of money? Does that part have a negative idea about what happens when you make a lot of money? Do you know someone who's really rich? That is an asshole. And you have a belief that rich people are assholes, maybe. So let's find out again with this part what its true and positive intention is. We want to go a little deeper this time and see if we can get to an even deeper issue. I'm going to go close this little window over here because there's some noise coming through. There we go. I heard some little children playing. We want to get this part to be able to help you to solve this, to release whatever conflict there is. In my case, I wanted to make money. I wanted my life to be more comfortable. I didn't want to feed my kids fast food $1 hamburgers and water. I didn't want to have my utilities shut off anymore. I didn't want to, long list of things. And I knew that one of my issues was that I wasn't going to go ask for help. I wasn't going to be someone who depended on anyone else to help me with money stuff. Because that to me seemed really, really like painful. I don't know why, but that would have really hurt. And when I called the welfare office to get a cord of wood because they had locked down the big propane tank outside because I didn't pay the bill, and I was told I'd get a free cord of wood to heat my house, I cried so hard when the woman answered the phone. I couldn't talk. I couldn't even speak. I just was going to say, what? And it was convulsive crying because I was so ashamed and I was so certain that I should not ask anyone for help. JP, bigger stuff like persecution, like being burned at the stake or taken out. Wow. Lois says the part said, I like to tease you about making money and then losing it because you are afraid of being selfish, because money is an illusion and has no value. It's a false goal. It's true. Money is a piece of paper that has some ink on it. It does represent something clearly, but we've got to get over this thing where, like, you make a vision board, and on your vision board, there's piles of money and gold and diamonds and all these things. And if you make that vision board and then you get to look at it every day and you're looking at just the things that money can buy and money itself, and that's not where this is. That's not what we're striving for, really. The money is the reward as a result of doing something that gives you satisfaction and makes you proud and helps others. And in JP's case, changes the world, quite possibly. So yeah, Lois says money equals emptiness. Yeah, interesting. Well, we could still honor the meaning that money has in our life and what it represents in a good way, because it is the reward that we exchange money in a way of showing gratitude to other people for what they're doing for us and doing it lovingly and letting go of greed. So yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so let's close our eyes again. Take a deep breath. And there's a place in you where you are very creative. You have a very creative part of you that knows how to solve problems or look at things a different way. So let yourself relax right now. Take some deep breaths. Let your body just kind of float and melt down a bit so that you go to that place in yourself where you are willing to be really honest and listen with a very open heart and an open mind to another part of you that knows how to solve problems. It knows how to find a solution. This part of you knows everything about you and everything that's ever happened to you. It understands the cause of the conflicts about money or success. As I talk about that, notice where in your body that part lives. This is your creative part. And notice where you're feeling that creative part. That creative part has always been there. It's been solving problems for you in so many ways. Just notice where you feel a sensation, a pressure. You may begin to visualize it and notice that it's got a color or a texture and where it lives in your body. And you're going to ask that part what it wants you to do to let go of your issues about money. And when we say money, we include wealth, opportunities, all the things that are related to money. So go to that creative part and ask it what it wants you to do to let go of your deep issue about money. What does it want you to do to let go of that deep issue about money? And if you need that part to clarify anything, just ask it to make that clearer. What does that part want you to do to let go of the issues about money? And when it answers, say thank you. Now ask that part, what is the most important thing for me to do to release my issues about money? What is the most important thing for me to do to release my issues about money? Good. And tell that part, thank you. And now ask that part even deeper. What is the thing that I should know to release my issues about money? What is the thing that I need to know or understand to release my issues about money? Good. And if you need clarification, you can ask that part to make it clearer. And when it answers, just say thank you. This creative part has so many ways to help you to find and release those deepest issues. And right now, that creative part, that problem solver, the one that knows everything about you, that part wants to help you. Maybe it's been helping you in the past by protecting you. Maybe it has been making decisions below your conscious awareness that have made you feel stopped or stuck or unable to move forward or just out of energy. And perhaps that part really was trying to protect you. Now, have a communication with that part to give it permission to be honest with you, to bring to your attention anything that might be old thoughts, old beliefs, old conflicts. Give it permission to come up with creative ideas and solutions. Creative ways to solve some problems or innovate the work that you're doing. To be creative and give you energy to want to continue to create and to move forward. So now as you're relaxing, just let your mind go a little bit into a deeper state of trance. Let yourself relax a little bit deeper. Notice what the feelings are that you have when I make these statements. You are worthy of wealth. Notice what your inner reaction is, your very honest reaction is. Perhaps it's agreement, yes, I am. Or maybe it's, I want to be. Just notice what your reactions are. I am worthy of wealth. Make a note of that. When I make money, I will be happier. Notice what that does. Positive or negative? I deserve to earn great amounts of money. I deserve to earn great amounts of money. Money comes to me easily. Notice how that feels. There's no right or wrong in the feelings that you're having. It is simply about discovering what's happening and discovering it so that we can resolve it and we can change it. Now let there be a beautiful golden light at the top of your head, just floating above the top of your head. And as you are so relaxed, let that golden light begin to float down inside of your head, inside of your body. And just let it be filled with gratitude and worthiness and a sense of wonder and awe about the things that you are going to be creating the things you're going to be discovering in the next few days. Let that golden light float down inside of your body, just warming your heart, floating down your spine, going down into your belly and your hips, down into your thighs. That beautiful golden light going down into your calves and your toes, filling all the spaces between the cells and illuminating those places in you where those parts live. Now those parts of you know that they are loved and that they can be honest with you. And they don't have to protect you by preventing you from being courageous or brave. They can help you and assist you. The creative part is now activating all the power and the knowledge and the wisdom that it has to guide you, to give you new ideas, to find ways to overcome some obstacles easily. And your other part that was perhaps sabotaging your success, notice what that part feels like right now and what it looks like. Has it changed at all? Is it different? It still has some things that it needs you to know. It started out with being honest with you and relieved that this part doesn't have to hold on to its needs, that you are now listening and allowing it to release and resolve those issues gently below your conscious awareness. Good. Give love to both of those parts now. Lots of love and gratitude. Yeah. Take a nice deep breath and begin to bring your awareness back here. And as you do, let your body feel the energy flowing back in like that beautiful golden light that you're filled with. Let it like get bigger and tingly and just make it kind of electrified inside of you with new thoughts, new ideas, and a new way of thinking. 1, bring the energy back into your legs and arms. And 2, bring that energy as a surge of power all the way up through your body. 3, your mind and body and spirit will be balanced and at peace. And 4, your eyes will feel cool and refreshed. And 5, wide awake, clear-headed and refreshed. Good, good, good. All right. So now, what did you learn? Now, if you don't want to share some of the intimate things that your part said, that's okay. For those of you who are listening to the replay, I want to make sure that you are doing these sessions and that you're doing them uninterrupted with nothing that would bother you or get in the way of you having these answers. If you were kind of listening passively for the last hour, go do it again, because you've got to be really into this with your eyes closed, with nothing disturbing you or causing you to have, we all have these little thoughts that come into our mind while we're in trance, but nothing that needs your attention, right? So go ahead and type in there some of the things you noticed that you learned with your parts. So you might describe what your first part looked like, the one that was the sabotage part, and what it felt like, and how it changed. But what did it want? Was it protecting you? Was there a positive reason that it was protecting you? Lois says, this part said, I like to tease you about making money and then losing it. Oh, wow, because you are afraid of being selfish. Oh, because money is an illusion. It has no value. It's a false goal. JP, bigger stuff, persecution, like being burned at the stake or taken out. Oh, interesting. You got something going on in there, JP. That's really interesting. How did that feel when you're getting that kind of an answer? What kind of reaction do you have for that? Does that make sense? Is it like, oh yeah, I know that feeling so well? Or is it like, where the hell did that come from? What does it feel like? Yeah, so Lois says money is emptiness. Wow. JP says, my self-sabotaging behavior is so odd. I was in Bitcoin since the beginning and I spent it all on good purposes to benefit the community. I didn't keep any. And that's just one example. Yeah, I guess we all wish we had bought Bitcoin and kept it. Oh, back in the day. JP says, the part showed me a beautiful flowering tree. The message, use money to bring forth beauty. The thing to do, let love in. The thing to know, it's only a game. You can play it by your own rules. God dang, that's brilliant. Wow. Oh, I seriously have chills right now. Goosebumps. Goosies. Wow. Okay, so let's oh man, JP, the previous things that you were sharing with us, you're kind of mystified about some of the things that happened that didn't allow you to make money, or that you had all this failure and being so stuck. But when you get something like this, with that part showing you a beautiful flowering tree, that is an extremely positive image. It represents life and growth, and it's flowering, and it's something that reaches really far. And the roots are really firm and they're in the ground. It's such a great metaphor for what's happening and shifting for you right now. So good. I want to go back and read this again. Use money to bring forth beauty and let love in. Does that feel okay for you? Is that, or does that feel like kind of like, yeah, I'm not so good at letting love in? I don't know. I'm just guessing. The thing to know, it's only a game. You can play it by your own rules. Wow. So Lois says, let it go. Fly through your fear to see the real world. Be happy and have fun. Be jolly like a jolly Santa Claus. Just be, laugh, enjoy. Money is money. It has no emotion. Yes. High five. And just wants to be a way to get to happiness. Enjoy it, have fun, see past the past. Very nice, very nice. Oh my goodness, wow. So that, it has no emotion. That one really like hits home for me. And money isn't about emotion. It's because, as we said, it's just paper. Of course it represents something. But if we keep putting so much pressure on the actual money and the lack of it and the fear and all the things it's causing, when we get past that and say, it doesn't have any emotion, right? Yeah. Watch you nod your head. It's so great. That's so great. Okay. Your homework. A couple of things before tomorrow's session. I want you to be aware of your thoughts that are the self-talk, the ones that don't even get verbalized. I want you to notice them. When they come up, you observe that thought and you go, wow, I didn't know that I felt that way about money. Or you see someone in a really nice car. Do you have envy? Do you feel like that person's greedy, that they're not helping change the world? They're buying a freaking $100,000 car. What are your little tiny tickly thoughts that are judgments about people with money? How do you feel that I moved to Hawaii? Look at people who are doing well, and as you go through your day, for the rest of the day, just notice if there's any little thoughts in there that are negative, and then just take a breath and say, no, I honor the process of people being able to have opportunities, to be worthy of wealth, to make money, just as I am. Change it to something that is positive. And so that's one thing, your self-talk. Be aware of it and change it. If you want to do the sabotage session again and talk to your part about this, it's in the program. You guys have all the audios. You can do this parts therapy again if you want, or you want to get a deeper experience in the parts. It's looking like all of you had some pretty big experiences here, but you could do it a second time. And it's probably a little different in the recorded version. Because when I'm doing these things live like this, I just kind of, whatever it's just feeling, I'm kind of letting it flow. So it might be structured a little bit differently for the parts therapy on the recorded ones. Do the writing. This is the other thing. In the book, the Financial Abundance book, they're right in the beginning when it says, what do you want? Why do you want it? And this is on page 7. It says, what is stopping you from having the success you want? What are you willing to do to have it? And don't just write like anything. Do you envy others who have money? And look at that question from the way that you reacted when you see someone has some big ass house, or they're driving a really super awesome car, and your car is, breaking down. And well, how do you feel when people are generous with their money? Is that right or wrong? Or, look at what envy is about others. Are people who have money greedy? And this one's really important. This question says, what will it mean about you when you're successful and abundant or rich? And underneath that, I put, really look at this. It will reveal a belief that you have about money. We're looking for a negative belief, something that's been holding you back. But again, we didn't solve all the problems by this one session today. We want to dig deeper, and I want you to write these down. If you would write them, I mean, you can type them as well. Some people feel that the kinesthetic process of writing is really important to processing what's happening in your mind. It very well could be. When I type, I'm not thinking about what I'm typing. It's just coming from somewhere. I don't know where. But for some people, typing does that to them. For some people, typing your answers makes you have to concentrate on like, oh, where are the letters, whoops, backspace. So I want you to do it in whatever way flows for you. What will be the best thing about having wealth? So that's another one of the questions on page 7, 8. Buddha says all we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. All right, so there's your commitment. You're going to get in the book, answer those questions either by typing them or writing them, page 7 and 8. If you need to redo the parts therapy, we can do that. And then we're going to get back here tomorrow. And if you do have a vision board hanging up in your house, look at it and go, what the fuck was I thinking? What? Yeah. And I think that's one of the most interesting things for me, is what we're focusing on. And you're actually combining, if you have this vision board with all of those kind of materialistic things that you have judgments about, then you're looking at it and you're reinforcing your deeper greed or envy or anger that other people have it and you don't, and such things. Then tomorrow, I think we're going to do your future timeline, which is just bonkers, blows me away. And then you're going to discover yet another thing that is part of your issues with money. Okay, questions. If anybody has questions, or even if you want to turn your mic on and ask questions for a few minutes, we could do that. Wow, cool. Lois says, thank you so much. This is wonderful. I feel like a weight is being lifted off my shoulders. Oh, yes. Another high five. And she says, so you've been in my car, eh? Yeah. So part of the purpose of me doing this daily with you, instead of like once a week or something, is I just don't think you should have 6 days to go about your normal habitual business and your reactions to things and all these things that are unchecked. If we're doing this every day, you can't help but start putting attention on what you're feeling and experiencing and being like, oh, yep, there it is. That's, yep. If we wait once, like with your clients, if you see clients, we don't need to see them once a week. I have clients fly in and stay for 4 days, and we do like 6 hours a day for 4 days. It's awesome. We just break through, and you don't get to go back to your shitty little life in between and screw it all up, right? Am I right? And you need to consider doing that with your clients, is no more weekly sessions. Let's just power through, especially with the addiction work that I do, the drug or alcohol addiction. It isn't something you want someone to go struggle for 6 days and then they come back to see you for 1 hour. Just, get it, even on Zoom, spend much time with them each day, and then we'll really make progress. So, all right, if there's no questions, then you have
a question.
Okay.
So I've done a great deal of inner work on myself, and last year, trying to break through blocks, stuff started coming up that wasn't from my own life, like in the inner stuff. And I'm just wondering what your experience is with that. I'm now part of a class on clearing collective trauma, because what was coming up was not directly from my experience, but was definitely in the parts. I go to it was coming up. So do you have experience like in those intense sessions that you've had with people, that, you know, it's like family stuff, genetic line stuff that's coming up, and clearing that.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes a person will get a past life thing. If you're into past lives, they'll get something like that that comes up, that they were, you know, starving and hungry and, totally in poverty, or they got killed for something that had to do with money or whatever. Yeah, as far as clearing it, every process we're going to be doing together is in the process of clearing that. And hopefully, the stuff that you're saying is genetic, the things that were handed down energetically and in your genes, those things are going to clear out, because when we change the energetic messages, the mental messages, emotional messages, it changes the way that our cells react. It changes the way our DNA is. It changes the length of our telomeres, which keep us from aging. It changes everything. So we do change that biology, and in that, I can assume that we'd change some of that genetic memory. It's
Thank
hard to
you.
know. It's hard to know for sure how this works, but it does certainly happen, and it does make those changes.
Well, it shows in you. You look amazing.
Thank you. I'm feeling pretty good these days. I just turned 64. Never thought that this would happen at 64 years old. I don't know. It's okay. It's good.
And there you are in paradise. Come on, that's awesome.
I know it is. I am feeling very blessed, and I'm so grateful for the horrible experiences I grew up with that taught me to be stronger and more resilient. And as a woman, even though there were a lot of negative things that I was taught, those became the positive things when I did this work on myself. And I did this work on myself for days and days. And it is truly 100% responsible for me being able to be successful. Yeah. So you guys are going to get your fears gone.
I love your approach, because I find myself over the years, I work on this, I feel good, I make some progress, then I get stuck, and I like the intensity that you work with. That
So what you're saying right there, I would ask you to change the tense. You're saying that in the present tense. When I do this and I get stuck, and then and so you're just tracing this path that you know really well and saying it as present tense. So you used to. That's how you used to do it. Yeah. And then say, I don't do it that way anymore. You might want to put something on your refrigerator that says, now this is the way I do it, so that you just keep glancing at that and going, oh yeah, get to do it different. All right, well, I'm going to go. Feel free to email me with questions or thoughts. We'll be back here same time tomorrow. If you know anyone who wants to get in on this, they can still register and then do the replay of the first one and join us for the other 4. All right, love and gratitude to all of you. Bye-bye. Same time, same station tomorrow.